Hare Krishna. Today I want to talk about a topic that I have been thinking about for some time now based on discussions that I've had with some parents regarding their children. I want to talk about bringing up confident devotee children. So let's begin. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunivadi Paschat Desh Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So the quality of confidence, this is talked about a lot these days. People are expected to be bold and confident, and children are also encouraged to present themselves in this way. They are encouraged to go on stage, join debating clubs and dramas, so that you are able to present yourself well before the world, and you can ace the interviews and get a good job ultimately. Do well in your profession, because most professions require presentations. So this idea of being bold and confident is very much encouraged these days. But we are not talking about that kind of confidence exactly. We are not talking about being confident with the aim of doing well materially. What I want to discuss is how to encourage our children to be confident in their identity as a devotee. So what we do want to do is we want to bring up our children in Krishna consciousness and emphasize to them how important it is to be a devotee, right? And we want them to be comfortable in presenting themselves as devotees in front of the world. So that is what is rather important. So we do explain to our children what our real identity is. Ideally, we should be having discussions with them where we explain how in our scriptures Lord Krishna says, Mameva Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. He explains in Bhagavad Gita that all living entities are eternally his fragmental part and parcel. So we have come from the Supreme Lord. We eternally remain separate from him. And what is our true nature? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatan Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 20, verse 108, Jiver Swarup Haya Krishna Nitya Das. So our eternal constitutional position is to be a servant of Krishna. And this is what we want to teach our children. We do teach them. They may even accept it, but are they confident to present themselves as a devotee of Krishna in front of the world? This is a bit difficult sometimes because children are at a particular age, teenagers, preteens, teenagers, and even when they are younger, they are very much influenced by their peers. Actually, not just children, everybody is influenced, but at that stage, I think they are more influenced because they are not that confident about who they are as individuals. So it is important that this sense of identity is made clear to them and in a way that they are comfortable with it. So many times we hear, children expressing, or the young devotees who come to the movement, that they feel like they are leading a dual life. There is a life that they have amongst devotees or their family, and then there's a life when they go to school or college, that it's very different because the people that they meet there is different, and they don't feel that comfortable in presenting themselves as a devotee. So this can be actually very confusing for children, to be constantly switching. And at some point, if they are going to go out in the world, have job, and they end up spending more and more time in this sphere, and they're not presenting themselves as devotees, chances are that at one point they will stop being that devotional. This aspect will take over their life much more. And maybe after many, many years, they may come back to it, because we do know that the foundation in Krishna consciousness does not go away. But how wonderful it would be if during those times also they are confident. Not only are they presenting themselves well, but they actually influence the people around them positively towards Krishna consciousness, just by their own confidence and the sense of security that they have, because this is something that people seek in the world today. That the feeling of insecurity is rising more and more amongst people. They are not very clear about who they are, what they want, for various reasons. So we want to discuss how we want to have this kind of environment for the children, that when they navigate from this world where they're predominantly with devotees to the world where they have to interact with non-devotees, they are not embarrassed about who they are. So I just wanted to discuss a little bit about this from what I have gathered from senior devotees, from my own experience of how we can help children navigate these things. And it is not just relevant for children, because many of us are in a position where we are preaching to younger devotees. So we do come across queries from them that what do I do, because I feel not that confident about telling my colleagues or other friends, because now I have come to Krishna consciousness, but earlier I was a different person. So how do I bridge that? Or it ends up that we are sometimes closet devotees. We don't come out as devotees to our friends and family. So what to do about that? So first we'll address about how we deal with it with our children, so as parents. Interestingly, the whole thing starts even before we have children. As we know, it starts with Garbhadhan Samskar. So we pray to Krishna that a pious soul comes into our family. So that's the first step, that if we do Garbhadhan Samskar, chances are high that we will get a child who actually wants to be a devotee. And all we have to do is kind of, increase that spark which is already there within him. Of course, in one sense, that spark is within all living entities, but depending on their past conditioning, some are more favorable and some it takes much harder, much more of an effort. So if we start with Garbhadhan Samskar, that's one positive thing. And the other thing, very interesting thing that I've been hearing about from researchers and psychologists, is that the first few years of a child's life are very important with respect to how much of how secure a person they will be later in life. So what does that mean? That in the first few years, the child is very much dependent on the parent, particularly the mother. And at that time, if they receive love and affection and attention, they are more likely to grow up to be confident individuals when they are older, right? So often we think it's just a child. What do they know? They're just sleeping, eating. It doesn't matter whether it's a parent or it's some other caregiver. So long as they are fed and clean, they're sleeping on time, that should be it. It doesn't matter who's doing it. but that's not what is discovered. And of course, from shastric point of view or Vedic culture point of view, we understand how children are to be nurtured right from the early ages. But also, like I said, modern scientific research shows that it's called attachment theory, that if you do give a lot of time in actually consoling the child, making sure that the child is very comfortable, being very physically close to the child, right? That if a child is crying, you immediately pick them up, soothe them, take care of them, and are very affectionate to the child. Then in that little infant brain, they understand that there is someone who's always going to be there for me. And if that is not there, because they don't know much about the world, even if for a slightly prolonged period of time they are crying, they are not attended to, then they start feeling insecure and apprehensive, anxious. Even babies feel anxiety, and that anxiety, that kind of alters their brains in such a way that when they grow up, they are likely to be insecure as individuals. So the first few years of their life is very critical in bringing up confident children. And why I particularly bring this up, because these days, of course, a lot of women are working, they have to work, and the solution for that is to put the child in daycare. So what happens is that there are a number of children in that facility. There are trained people who are supposed to look after them. But clearly it's not one-to-one. There's not one caregiver for one child. They have to rotate amongst the number of children. And it's likely that children are in need of being taken care of, soothed when they're crying and so on. But there's no one there for them. Obviously, I mean, it would be impractical if we don't accept the possibility of this happening in a daycare. So the other alternative, of course, the best alternative being the mother being there, being available for the child, but clearly that may not happen in all cases. Then it should be a person who you trust, if it's a family member or even a neighbor, a friend. And if it could be one-to-one, that there is one adult who is really looking after your child in the absence of the mother, that would be an ideal arrangement. So if we do feel that we have to go out to work when our children are very small, then we should make at least this kind of arrangement. But the perfect arrangement would be that actually the mother is there with the child. So this has far-reaching consequences. It's not just that we are taking care of the physical needs of the child. Babies also have emotional needs. And if the mother is there, that's taken care of. So that's a very important step in bringing up confident children and the kind of confidence that we want for them. And similarly, as they are growing up, they are in need, children are in a need of a lot of love and what they say, positive affirmations, that they want to, if we do instill in the children a feeling that they are good individuals, they are worthwhile, and they have good qualities, then automatically they feel confident about themselves. So if we give love and affection to an individual, this is natural, right? If we give attention to somebody, they feel that they are worthwhile, and their confidence, their self-worth would be high, and they will be secure individuals. So it's why I'm emphasizing on this is because the world is such that it's not very favorable towards people who want to practice spiritual life, right? Most of the people are going away from spirituality. what to say of going away, it doesn't even factor in their day-to-day life. There's no question of even thinking about these things. So if a person is trying to practice devotional life, even if it's a part of your life, a big part of your life, that itself is alien to most people. That if you are reading scriptures, chanting, going to the temple, that amongst young people is just unimaginable. That sounds boring. Why would you want to do it? And if you say that that's your lifestyle, oh, that's really difficult for people to accept or understand, right? So when we go into such a world where people do not understand, unless you are confident in your identity, you will not be able to navigate that world very well. So our children, if they are not confident individuals, if they're not comfortable with who they are, then it'll become difficult for them moving forward. And as we said, they might just go far away from Krishna consciousness, because the instinct of every individual is that you want to fit in, you want to be part of something. And that's why you hear these things, the nationalism, that, oh, I'm proud to be an Indian or an American, or there was the slogan, Garv se kaho hum Hindu hain. They're kind of trying to instill this feeling of belonging to a particular group, and you want to be, because that makes a person feel secure. Okay, I'm part of this group, and these set of people, these are my value systems, and there are other people who have similar values. So what happens is that our children end up being in minority. There are very few people who have similar values. Like, try telling 15, 16-year-old that, oh, you should not talk to, if it's a boy, don't talk to girls, that's not a nice thing to do. If he says this to his friends, they laugh at him, because that's the age where they are exploring all these things, and that's unimaginable for them. So very different value systems. So if the children don't have confidence, they will not be able to, like I said, navigate this world, because it's very different. And only when we are secure individuals, we are able to handle it. So what I mean by giving our children attention is that, not that we pamper them. So there's a difference between being affectionate and attentive and pampering them. Pampering is that whatever they do, you just overlook it, and you're just like affectionate, affectionate, affectionate. No, of course we have to teach our children what is right and what is wrong. But when they're doing the right thing, we really appreciate that, because then they will have the confidence in themselves and in what they are doing. Because the world is not going to give them this affirmation that, oh, wonderful, you've learned so many shlokas and you are thinking about this, we are having these discussions. Nobody else is going to appreciate them for these things. Or even if they do, it may be superficial. But if the parents are giving them this affirmation that what they're doing is nice, appreciating what they're doing, then they will grow up to be secure. So these were the few things that I really wanted to emphasize, that in the younger, as babies, they really require attention, physical touch of the mother, a lot of soothing, coddling, just being very, very affectionate. So 100% affection, overload of affection when they are from age 0 to 5. And then a little bit of discipline, but also being very positive about their achievements, all their achievements, whether they are creative, whether they are doing well in their studies. If they get appreciation from their family, any person who gets appreciation, it makes them secure in who they are. And that's what we want. We want our children to be confident and secure, because then they will be able to, just be comfortable in their own skin. So two things was about giving them affection when they are babies, giving them positive affirmations. And of course, there are other things that we have discussed previously of having discussions about things that are somewhat contrary. You'll see people saying different things when they go out in the world, and we want to discuss these things. Like we even see, my daughters and I, we see debates on TV between liberal Christians and conservative Christians, or between conservative Christians and other people who represent themselves differently, and see what are their arguments. And you'll see around the world there are people who have a very pious worldview, and how they assert some of the things that they believe in. So we can have these discussions with our children. We can watch these kind of debates together, because it also helps them see both sides of the picture, and how you can defend who you are. So that's a nice thing to do, having discussions. I think that's very important. We sometimes miss that. We just tell our children what to do, but I think it's more important to explain to them why they should do what is right. So that was a thing that I've often emphasized. And also about making Krishna consciousness a very joyous thing. So I actually asked my daughters, I said that, what is it? Why do you feel that you want to continue to be devotees? So two things that they mentioned was that, one, they were amongst children their age who were also devotees, or at least came from a similar background. And the other thing was that they didn't feel like they were missing out on anything because they were devotees. And so many aspects come into it, like cooking. They always had nice prasadam to eat, so you don't feel like if there are some rules and regulations we follow, that's not that they are deprived of something. So things like this, that making it joyous, really having a program in your house where you have kirtan and you have wonderful prasadam, and really emphasize these nice things about Krishna consciousness, so they feel happy. And when I was reflecting on this, I was thinking, of course, we went to Mayapur. They had very nice association because of that. But one thing is that not all children in Mayapur are 100% convinced that they want to be devotees. So just putting them in an environment is not enough. Also, our home environment is very important, and even within that environment of devotees, you may want to be selective about the association. But even around the world, I have come across very nice set of devotees who are bringing up their children in this way, that they are happy to be devotees. One was in Oman. There is a wonderful congregation there, and I saw children who are Krishangi Gaurangi's age. We were there when they were younger, and they've grown up to be wonderful devotees. They do want to be, they are convinced that they want to be devotees. We saw this in Dubai also, many children who have now, they were children, now they've become youth. They're very nicely preaching, participating. I saw a community in United States. I'm sorry, I forget the place, and maybe I'll put it in the comments, where there was a community where a lot of children are being homeschooled, and we attended a Rath Yatra there while we were traveling through America, and I could see how the children were having so much fun together. So that was really nice, because there was this environment where the children have devotee friends and they all have fun together. So they are growing up very nicely in Krishna consciousness. So therefore they have these positive memories about being devotees, and positive memories about doing things together. So I thought a lot of these activities, like doing dramas, doing skits based on Krishna conscious topics. That's such a nice thing for children to do. So even if you don't have a very big congregation or devotees, if you can get together your children's friends and then have a nice drama on Janmashtami or Narsingha Chaturdashi and celebrate the festivals like this. So that's a joyous activity which is related to Krishna consciousness, which the children are engaging in. So they have nice things associated with Krishna consciousness. So in this way, I thought these were a couple of things that I've discussed earlier, but I really wanted to affirm that bringing up children who are confident is important, because only then they would be able to present themselves as devotees in front of the world, and they would not be shy about it. So association is a big part of allowing our children to be confident in their identity. This means that they not only need to know who they are, but it helps if there are other people around them who also have similar values. So I feel as parents we should really make an effort to create that environment for our children. If it means moving from where we currently are, if we are able to do so, we should certainly consider it. So what would be ideal? Like a beautiful farm community, that would be so nice to bring up the children, or some other community where devotees are staying closer together. Or if you can't do that, at least drive down to wherever there are more devotees on the weekend. Make sure that the weekends are spent with children who are also devotees. So these things are very important for our children, that what kind of environment they are in, and association plays a big part. It's just like when children grow up in joint families, they are generally more stable than the nuclear family, because there are more people around them who are A, affectionate towards them, and B, having the same value system and culture. So this really helps bring up confident individuals, that if they have more people around them who are affectionate, who are teaching them by their own example what is right or what is wrong, or what should be one's worldview. So that helps. And I really think as parents, we should make that effort to provide that environment for our children. And conversely, we should make the effort to avoid bad company for our children. That if knowing how things are these days, if we can have homeschooling alternatives, that would be wonderful. Of course, one may think that, oh, then the children don't get the social skills. Yeah, we can do something else for that, or have a homeschooling group. But if we can have our children away from the toxic environment or the culture which is prevalent in the world, that would actually help them. One thinks that, oh, they'll be in a cocoon, they'll be too shy, it's not good, they will not grow up to be confident. But if we are giving them selective association, and they are given the proper moral values, actually they will grow up to be confident individuals, and with good moral values and confident about the right thing. What is the point of having very confident children and they are bold about doing all nonsense in the world? That's not the kind of confidence we want. That's not the kind of children who are going to be happy or successful in life, actually, or would be able to contribute anything positive to the world. So that's not what we want. We would rather have children who are a little gentle and maybe a little shy, but they know what is right or wrong. And given the right environment, they can even defend their values. So I think it is more important to maybe create that oasis of good association and protect our children from the outside world, and not think that, oh, that will negatively impact them. Quite the contrary. Recently, my daughter's cousin, she took an interview for her. She was, as part of a project, she had to, sociology project, I think, she had to uh, find out about communities or yeah, setups which are very different or something out of the ordinary. So she spoke to her about Mayapur and how her upbringing was, and it was a very interesting conversation. And I was very happy that Krishangi could very positively represent our lifestyle in front of another peer of hers who is living a completely different lifestyle, and she was not hesitant about it. So this happens when the children have been in a environment that they it's positive, they've had a nice childhood, they have good memories. So why would they not like to share that, or why would they be reluctant to share that? It would not, they would not be shy about it. So that was a point that I felt is important, and contrary to what we would think, that we want that our children should be out there in the world if they want to be confident. But yeah, sometimes even in a protected environment, the children can grow up to be wonderful, strong individuals who will in future be bold preachers for Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking about this topic. I also discussed with Krishangi and Gaurangi that, well, but where does one draw the line about, when you're trying to be very encouraging to your children, you're always like, yeah, you're really good, you're doing good. But how does that, will that make the children a bit egoistic? You want your children to be confident, but you don't want them to be a bit too proud of who they are. So one very interesting thing that they said was that, Mama, don't worry. Actually, in today's world, most children are suffering from the opposite, that they don't feel good about themselves, that they are insecure. And of course, a lot of this is because of social media and so many ideas because of that. So they said, it's fine if you are telling your children that you are good at whatever they are good at, and kind of boosting up their confidence and their morale. You most probably can't go wrong. So not to worry that, oh, I don't want to be too encouraging to my children because maybe they'll get too proud and overconfident. So that's usually not going to happen, because whatever you are giving to the children, the world is kind of putting them down or making them feel insecure. So even if we just balance it out and they are normal individuals, that's a win. So that's not really something to be apprehensive about as parents. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And I feel I have been repeating myself a lot, but I've been thinking about it because of how more and more children have anxiety and insecurity and all these kind of mental pressures. So it's something that we need to be aware of as parents and try to address it and make sure that we are helping them in navigate through this very difficult world that we are in. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.